In the sprawling, ordinary suburbs of Chicago, specifically Des Plaines, Illinois, lived a man whose public persona radiated warmth and community spirit. John Wayne Gacy was a respected local businessman, a successful contractor, and even a familiar face at children's parties, often dressed as Pogo the Clown. His home, a modest ranch house on Somerdale Avenue, was a hub of activity, frequently hosting neighborhood barbecues and events. No one suspected the unspeakable horrors hidden beneath the seemingly idyllic facade, the secrets that would soon shatter the quiet peace of the community. As the 1970s drew to a close, a chilling pattern began to emerge across the Chicago area. Young men, mostly teenagers, were vanishing without a trace. Their disappearances were initially treated as isolated incidents, perhaps runaways, common enough in any large urban area. But as weeks turned into months, and the numbers grew, a deeper, more sinister possibility began to take hold. Parents grew frantic, police departments struggled to connect the dots, and a silent terror started to grip the communities, hinting at an unseen predator. John Wayne Gacy's business, PDM Contractors, was thriving. He employed a revolving door of young men, often hiring those from marginalized backgrounds or with minor criminal records, offering them work and a place to stay. He presented himself as a benevolent employer, providing opportunities where others wouldn't. This allowed him close proximity to a vulnerable demographic, often those less likely to be reported missing or whose disappearances might be dismissed. The true nature of his operations, however, was far more sinister than any business ledger could reveal. Gacy's respectable image was carefully constructed, a deliberate shield against a troubled past. Before his Chicago success, he had faced serious charges. In 1968, in Waterloo, Iowa, Gacy was convicted of sodomy and spent time in prison. This conviction, though known to authorities, was largely obscured by his subsequent community involvement and professional achievements. His parole and relocation to Illinois allowed him to rebuild a life, seemingly turning over a new leaf. But the darkness that led to his earlier crimes had not been extinguished. Despite his criminal record, Gacy possessed a disturbing charisma. He was adept at manipulating perceptions, charming neighbors, local politicians, and even law enforcement officials. His work as Pogo the Clown for local events further endeared him to the community, projecting an image of harmlessness and goodwill. This public persona was a crucial element in his ability to evade suspicion for so long, creating an almost impenetrable barrier between his benign outward appearance and the horrific reality he meticulously concealed. The trust he built was a powerful weapon. By late 1978, the number of missing young men in the Chicago area was alarming. Reports filled police desks, but coordination between various departments was often fragmented. Each new disappearance added to a growing sense of dread. Families desperately sought answers, circulating flyers and contacting media, but the sheer volume of cases made it difficult to pinpoint a common thread. The police were searching for a pattern, a link that would connect these seemingly unrelated vanishings, unaware that the answer was hidden in plain sight. The case of Robert Piest, a 15-year-old high school student, would prove to be the critical turning point. On December 11, 1978, Piest left his job at a local pharmacy in Des Plaines, telling his mother he was going to speak with a contractor about a job opportunity. He was seen talking to John Wayne Gacy. Robert never returned home. This wasn't just another missing person. Piest's mother, Elizabeth, had a crucial detail: she knew who her son was meeting, and she was tenacious in her pursuit of answers. Elizabeth Piest's immediate reporting and specific information to the Des Plaines police were invaluable. She described John Wayne Gacy in his vehicle, a white Chevrolet Caprice. This was a direct lead, unlike many of the previous missing persons cases. Police immediately visited the pharmacy and confirmed Gacy's presence and interaction with Robert. This crucial piece of information put Gacy directly in the crosshairs of the investigation, marking the beginning of the end for his carefully constructed world of deception. With Gacy now a person of interest, Des Plaines police initiated surveillance on his Somerdale Avenue home. Detectives observed his movements, noted the activity around his house, and began to scrutinize his every action. This was a delicate operation. Gacy was well connected, and any misstep could jeopardize the investigation. The police understood they were dealing with someone who was both cunning and potentially dangerous, requiring meticulous planning and constant vigilance to gather the evidence needed to make an arrest. During their initial observations, police noted a distinct and pervasive odor emanating from Gacy's property, especially near the crawl space fence. It was a sweet, sickening smell, later identified as decomposing flesh, masked by the pungent scent of lime. Gacy, ever the smooth talker, explained it away as a drainage problem or a dead animal. But the detectives, experienced in such matters, recognized the grim reality this smell often indicated. It was a silent, horrifying testament to what lay hidden beneath the suburban veneer. On December 12, 1978, armed with a search warrant, investigators entered Gacy's Somerdale Avenue home. The initial search was conducted under the guise of investigating Robert Piest's disappearance, with Gacy present and seemingly cooperative. However, the police were keenly aware that this was their chance to find something more. They meticulously examined the house, looking for any clue, any sign that could link Gacy not just to Piest, but to the broader pattern of missing young men. The tension in the house was palpable. Inside Gacy's home, police found several concerning items: Robert Piest's high school class ring, other personal belongings of missing youths, and various disturbing objects. These discoveries solidified their suspicions. The discrepancy between Gacy's calm demeanor and the grim evidence mounting around him was jarring. Each item recovered chipped away at his carefully constructed facade, revealing the cracks in his charade. The initial search, intended for Piest, had now uncovered something far more extensive and sinister. John Wayne Gacy was brought in for questioning at the Des Plaines police station. Initially, he maintained his innocence, portraying himself as a helpful citizen caught in a misunderstanding. Detectives, led by Andrew P. Saigon and Joseph Kozenzak, applied persistent pressure, slowly chipping away at his fabricated story. The interrogation was a battle of wills, a psychological chess match where Gacy attempted to control the narrative, but the mounting evidence against him was becoming impossible to ignore or explain away. Over hours, and then days, Gacy's composure began to crumble. On December 21, 1978, Gacy finally broke. He confessed to killing Robert Piest and described where Piest's body could be found, indicating it was in the Des Plaines River. But this was just the beginning. The confession expanded into something far more horrifying: a systematic pattern of abducting, torturing, and murdering young men over several years. The dam had broken, revealing a torrent of unspeakable crimes. Gacy then revealed the true depth of his depravity. Most of his victims were buried in the crawl space beneath his own home. He detailed how he had lured young men to his house, sexually assaulted and murdered them, and then disposed of their bodies in the shallow grave under his floorboards. The realization sent a shockwave through the investigation team. The sweet, putrid smell they had detected earlier now had a terrifying, definitive explanation, turning a suburban home into a mass grave. What followed was a meticulous, grueling recovery effort. Forensic teams began excavating the crawl space. The conditions were horrific: cramped, cold, and filled with the stench of decay. Body after body was carefully unearthed, wrapped in plastic, and painstakingly removed. The small ranch house on Somerdale Avenue became the focal point of a horrifying discovery, drawing national attention and revealing the true magnitude of Gacy's monstrous acts. Each recovered victim brought a new wave of grief and despair. While most bodies were found beneath his house, Gacy admitted to disposing of 4 victims in the Des Plaines River, including Robert Piest. The reason for these outdoor burials was a lack of space under the house. Divers and search teams combed the cold, murky waters of the river, enduring challenging conditions to recover the remains. This expanded the search perimeter, adding another layer of grim work to an already overwhelming investigation. The scope of Gacy's crimes was truly staggering. The grim task of identifying the recovered remains began. Many bodies were severely decomposed, making identification challenging. Dental records, clothing, and other personal effects were painstakingly used to give names back to the victims. For families who had endured months or even years of agonizing uncertainty, this process, while horrifying, finally offered some form of closure, a definitive answer to where their loved ones had gone. The process was a testament to the dedication of forensic teams. News of the discoveries at Gacy's house quickly spread, captivating and horrifying the entire nation. The story of the benevolent businessman and children's clown who was secretly a mass murderer sent shivers down the spine of America. It shattered perceptions of safety in suburban communities and highlighted the terrifying reality that evil could hide behind the most ordinary and respectable facades. The collective consciousness struggled to comprehend such profound depravity. John Wayne Gacy's trial began in January 1980. The prosecution, led by William Kunkel, presented a mountain of evidence: Gacy's confession, the recovered bodies, forensic analysis, and testimony from men who had barely escaped his clutches. The case was a media sensation, with every detail meticulously reported. The world watched as the horrifying story of Gacy's crimes was laid bare, revealing the meticulous planning and sheer brutality behind his actions. Gacy's defense team, led by Sam Amarant and Robert Mata, pursued an insanity defense. They argued that Gacy suffered from a multiple personality disorder, unable to control his actions, and that Jack was responsible for the murders. The defense attempted to portray Gacy as a victim of his own fractured mind, a plea that struggled to reconcile with the calculated nature of the crimes and Gacy's own admissions of planning. The jury was left to weigh psychiatric evaluations against the overwhelming physical evidence. Beyond the gruesome physical evidence, the trial featured harrowing testimonies from survivors and those who had encountered Gacy's darker side and managed to escape. Their accounts painted a vivid and terrifying picture of Gacy's methods of luring victims, his meticulous preparations, and the terrifying ordeal they endured. These first-hand narratives were crucial in demonstrating the calculated nature of Gacy's crimes, directly challenging the defense's claims of mental incapacitation. Their bravery provided vital insight into his predatory behavior. After deliberating for just over 2 hours, the jury rejected the insanity defense. On March 13, 1980, John Wayne Gacy was found guilty on 33 counts of murder. The swiftness of the verdict reflected the overwhelming strength of the prosecution's case and the jury's rejection of Gacy's claims of mental illness. Justice, in the eyes of the court and the grieving families, had finally been served. The man who had worn the mask of Pogo the Clown was now revealed as a cold-blooded killer. Following his conviction, John Wayne Gacy was sentenced to death. He spent the next 14 years on death row at the Menard Correctional Center. During this time, he continued to maintain his innocence in some respects, offering conflicting statements and occasionally giving interviews. He also took up painting, often depicting clowns or macabre scenes, further cementing his twisted public image. His years in prison provided no real remorse, only a continuation of his manipulative personality. On May 10, 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center in Crest Hill, Illinois. His final words were reportedly an expletive. His death brought a sense of finality to many, especially the victims' families, who had waited decades for this moment. It closed a dark chapter in American criminal history, marking the end of a man whose horrific actions had forever changed the lives of so many and left an indelible scar on the nation's psyche. Even after Gacy's execution, the grim work of identifying all his victims continued. Several sets of remains remained unidentified for decades, a constant reminder of the unfinished business of justice. Advances in forensic technology, particularly DNA analysis, have since allowed for the identification of some of these unknown victims, offering long-awaited answers to their families. This ongoing effort highlights the profound and lasting impact of Gacy's crimes, and the relentless dedication to providing closure. The case of John Wayne Gacy left an indelible mark on American society and law enforcement. It prompted significant changes in how missing persons cases, especially those involving young males, were investigated and coordinated across jurisdictions. The horror of a seemingly normal, community-involved individual being such a monstrous killer forced a re-evaluation of assumptions about criminal profiling and the nature of evil. His crimes became a benchmark for understanding serial predation. Psychologists and criminal profilers have extensively studied Gacy. He exhibited classic traits of a psychopathic serial killer: a superficial charm, a lack of empathy or remorse, manipulative tendencies, and a penchant for maintaining a double life. His ability to compartmentalize his horrifying actions from his public persona remains a chilling case study in criminal psychology. Gacy represents the terrifying reality that not all monsters look like monsters, some blend seamlessly into society, hiding in plain sight. For the residents of Des Plaines and the wider Chicago area, the Gacy case left a scar that would never fully heal. The once quiet suburban streets now carried the weight of a terrible history. Trust in neighbors was shaken, and a sense of innocence was irrevocably lost. The tragedy profoundly altered the community's perception of safety and the dark capabilities that can lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. The shadow of his crimes still lingers decades later. The image of Pogo the Clown, once a symbol of childhood joy, was irrevocably tainted by Gacy's crimes. The jovial entertainer became synonymous with horror, transforming a seemingly innocent figure into a symbol of pure evil. This unfortunate association underscored the perversion of Gacy's double life and continues to be a disturbing element of his legacy. The once bright face of Pogo now serves as a grim reminder of the darkness Gacy embodied. Beyond the monster, it is crucial to remember the young men whose lives were tragically cut short. They were sons, brothers, friends, and their stories are more than just statistics in a serial killer's ledger. Their memories live on through their families and the dedicated individuals who continue to seek justice for them. Memorials and ongoing identification efforts ensure that they are remembered not for how they died, but for the lives they lived, and the hope for ultimate closure. Looking back, there were subtle red flags in Gacy's life that, in hindsight, pointed to his disturbing nature. His past conviction, his controlling behavior, and odd incidents reported by some employees were dismissed or explained away. These early warning signs underscore the difficulty in identifying such predators, especially when they present a convincing facade. The Gacy case became a stark lesson in paying attention to inconsistencies, even when faced with outward charm. The Gacy investigation, despite its horrific outcome, also became a testament to dedicated police work. The persistence of detectives like Andrew P. Saigon and Joseph Kozenzak, coupled with Elizabeth Piest's crucial tip, ultimately brought Gacy to justice. Their meticulous surveillance, careful evidence gathering, and relentless interrogation broke through Gacy's defenses. It showcased the vital role of individual officers and interdepartmental cooperation in cracking the most challenging and disturbing cases. The John Wayne Gacy case remains one of the most studied and discussed true crime cases in history. Its blend of a charismatic killer, a hidden suburban horror, and the sheer scale of the murders continues to fascinate and horrify. It contributed significantly to the growing public interest in true crime, pushing boundaries in media reporting and public understanding of serial predation. Gacy became a benchmark, influencing how similar cases are perceived and documented even today. Gacy's image, particularly his unsettling smile and the Pogo the Clown persona, has become iconic in the annals of evil. His case forces us to confront the unsettling truth that monsters do not always reside in shadows but can walk among us, living seemingly normal lives. The enduring fascination with Gacy stems from this disquieting revelation, challenging our inherent need to easily identify good from evil. It's a reminder of humanity's capacity for profound darkness. For the families of Gacy's victims, the healing process was arduous and lifelong. The brutal nature of the crimes, the prolonged uncertainty, and the public spectacle of the trial inflicted unimaginable pain. Even with the resolution of justice, the trauma endured. Their courageous pursuit of answers and their unwavering love for their lost sons stand as a poignant counterpoint to Gacy's depravity. Their strength in the face of such horror is a testament to the human spirit. Gacy frequently targeted vulnerable young men, often those who were runaways, struggling with poverty, or new to the city. This aspect of his modus operandi highlighted systemic failures in protecting marginalized populations. The case spurred discussions on improving resources for at-risk youth and enhancing reporting mechanisms for missing persons from less privileged backgrounds. It brought to light the need for greater societal vigilance and support networks for those most susceptible to exploitation. Years after the horrific discoveries, Gacy's house on Somerdale Avenue was demolished in 1980. The property was sold, and a new house was built on the site, intentionally offset from the original foundation to ensure no trace of the past horrors remained beneath. This act was a symbolic effort to erase the physical footprint of evil and allow the community to move forward, though the psychological scars would persist. The land itself became a symbol of renewal. The Gacy case, and others like it, spurred significant advancements in forensic science. The challenges of identifying severely decomposed remains pushed boundaries in dental forensics, anthropology, and later, DNA technology. These advancements became crucial not only for Gacy's unidentified victims but for countless cold cases across the globe. The tragic impetus provided by such crimes paradoxically led to better tools for justice, offering hope for future victim identification. The media's coverage of John Wayne Gacy was extensive, shaping public perception and understanding of serial killers. From sensational headlines to in-depth documentaries, Gacy became a recurring figure in popular culture. While increasing awareness, such coverage also raised ethical questions about glorifying criminals or sensationalizing victims' suffering. The case continues to be a subject of numerous books, films, and documentaries, reflecting an enduring fascination with extreme human behavior. Gacy's case remains a chilling testament to the multifaceted and often incomprehensible nature of evil. It challenges the simplistic notions of what a killer looks like, forcing society to confront the uncomfortable truth that malevolence can reside within those who appear outwardly normal, even benevolent. His story compels us to look beyond superficial appearances and question the layers of deception individuals can construct. It is a profound psychological enigma that continues to haunt. While Robert Piest's disappearance was the final trigger, Gacy's killing spree began years earlier. His first confirmed victim was John Butkovich, a 16-year-old boy who disappeared on August 10, 1976. Butkovich's disappearance went largely unnoticed in the broader scheme of things at the time, swallowed by the anonymity of a large city. This initial murder set a terrifying precedent, marking the beginning of Gacy's horrific pattern and the long, silent terror he would inflict before his capture. Gacy's method involved luring young men, often those new to the area or seeking employment, back to his home with promises of work or money. Once inside, he would overpower, assault, and then murder them, typically by strangulation. The regularity of his crimes and the chilling efficiency of his disposal methods allowed him to operate undetected for years. This calculated pattern of predation highlighted his cunning and the terrifying precision of his actions. Remarkably, some individuals had terrifyingly close encounters with Gacy and managed to escape. Their stories, often coming to light after his arrest, provided critical insights into his predatory techniques and near misses. These survivors' harrowing accounts underscored Gacy's dangerous cunning and the sheer luck or quick thinking that saved them from becoming another statistic. Their bravery in sharing their experiences became a vital part of understanding the killer's tactics. During his interrogation and trial, Gacy engaged in a psychological battle with investigators and prosecutors. He attempted to mislead, deflect, and ultimately claim insanity, desperately clinging to a narrative that absolved him of full responsibility. This battle was not just about legal strategy, it was a continuation of his manipulative personality, even when cornered. His refusal to show genuine remorse demonstrated a profound disconnect from the horror he inflicted. The prosecution faced the immense burden of proving beyond a reasonable doubt Gacy's guilt and sanity, despite his confession. They meticulously linked physical evidence, victim testimonies, and Gacy's own statements. Each piece of evidence was crucial in building an undeniable case against a man who sought to hide behind a facade of normalcy and mental illness. The trial became a masterclass in assembling a complex mosaic of grim facts. The Gacy case, alongside other high-profile serial killer cases of the era, significantly impacted the victims' rights movement. The experiences of families navigating the justice system, often feeling marginalized, led to calls for greater support, information, and participation for victims and their relatives. This dark chapter helped spur legislative changes and the creation of advocacy groups aimed at ensuring victims have a voice in criminal proceedings. It transformed the approach to criminal justice. Neighbors on Somerdale Avenue initially found it impossible to reconcile the friendly, helpful John Wayne Gacy with the monster revealed. Many expressed shock, guilt, and disbelief. The case highlighted the challenge of recognizing a serial killer who actively participates in community life. It fostered a heightened, though sometimes paranoid, sense of vigilance in neighborhoods, forever altering the perception of the stranger next door. The trauma extended beyond the victims' families. Gacy's life was an intricate web of deception. He managed to juggle multiple identities: the devoted family man, the successful businessman, the beloved clown, and the ruthless predator, with astonishing skill. This ability to maintain such a profound duality, to switch between roles seamlessly, is a hallmark of high-functioning psychopaths. It allowed him to evade detection for years, creating a false reality that few could penetrate. The layers of his lies were breathtaking. The investigation of John Wayne Gacy involved a massive effort by the Cook County Sheriff's Department, working in conjunction with the Des Plaines Police. The sheer volume of evidence, the coordination of multiple search efforts, and the scale of victim identification required unprecedented resources and collaboration. This monumental task tested the limits of 1970s law enforcement, becoming a defining moment in their history and a case study in large-scale criminal investigations. Decades later, the question of why Gacy committed such horrific acts remains a subject of intense debate and speculation. Was it purely sadistic pleasure, a need for control, or deep-seated psychological trauma? While Gacy offered fragmented and self-serving explanations, no single answer fully encapsulates the profound evil. The quest to understand the root causes of such depravity continues to drive criminal psychology, seeking insights that might prevent future tragedies. The John Wayne Gacy case serves as a perpetual warning. It reminds us of the importance of vigilance, critical thinking, and not judging solely by outward appearances. It underscores the potential for profound darkness to exist in unexpected places and the vital need for robust law enforcement, forensic science, and community support systems to protect the vulnerable. The lessons learned from Gacy's reign of terror continue to shape our understanding of crime. In his final hours, Gacy was stoic, showing no public signs of remorse. The bureaucratic process of execution proceeded, culminating in the lethal injection. His death closed the physical chapter of his life, but the ripple effects of his actions continue to resonate. For many, his execution brought not closure, but a quiet understanding that the suffering he caused would never truly fade, only evolve into a long shadow over the lives of those he touched. The search for victims in the Des Plaines River was an arduous and grim task, particularly in the harsh winter conditions of December. Freezing temperatures and murky waters made visibility almost impossible for divers. The river banks and surrounding areas were systematically combed, with police knowing that Gacy had confessed to disposing of several bodies there. This part of the investigation highlighted the sheer determination of the search teams to recover every possible victim, regardless of the challenges. Gacy used lime to cover the bodies buried in his crawl space, believing it would accelerate decomposition and mask the odor. While lime can deter scavengers, it does not dissolve bodies as he hoped. Instead, it contributed to the distinct odor and, ironically, helped preserve some remains, making later identification possible. This macabre detail revealed Gacy's attempted concealment and his miscalculation regarding forensic science, a small victory for future justice. Many of Gacy's victims were just starting their lives, filled with hopes and dreams. Remembering their youth, their aspirations, and the bright future stolen from them is a crucial part of combating the overwhelming horror of Gacy's crimes. Their stories serve as a powerful reminder of the human cost of such evil and the importance of valuing every life. It's a call to cherish the fleeting innocence that Gacy so cruelly violated. The Gacy case occurred during a period often dubbed the Golden Age of serial killers, before widespread forensic databases and coordinated national missing persons systems. His capture and trial became a pivotal moment, catalyzing improvements in interagency cooperation, criminal profiling, and forensic technologies that have profoundly changed how such crimes are investigated today. It marked a turning point, moving from fragmented local efforts to more integrated approaches. Autopsies played a critical role in confirming the cause of death for Gacy's victims, primarily strangulation, and in establishing the timeline of the murders. Dr. Robert Stein, the Cook County medical examiner, and his team meticulously examined the remains, often under challenging conditions, providing essential forensic evidence for the prosecution. Their diligent work was instrumental in documenting the brutality and building the legal case against Gacy. Throughout his 14 years on death row, John Wayne Gacy pursued numerous appeals, attempting to overturn his conviction or sentence. His legal team argued various points, including claims of inadequate defense counsel and errors in the original trial. These appeals prolonged the legal process and further extended the agony for the victims' families, even as they were ultimately unsuccessful, with courts consistently upholding the original verdict and sentence. While imprisoned, Gacy turned to art, producing numerous paintings, many of them self-portraits as Pogo the Clown or other macabre figures. These works, often disturbing in their cheerful darkness, were seen by some as an attempt to control his narrative or express a twisted inner world. For others, they were simply further proof of his chilling lack of remorse. His art became a morbid curiosity, offering a disturbing glimpse into the mind of a killer. Even today, decades after Gacy's execution, the search for answers continues for a few families. Some victims' remains are still unidentified, awaiting advancements in technology or new information. Law enforcement agencies and dedicated cold case teams remain committed to giving every victim their name back. This ongoing dedication underscores the lasting shadow of Gacy's crimes and the unwavering pursuit of justice and closure, no matter how much time has passed. The Des Plaines Police Department found itself at the center of one of the nation's most notorious criminal investigations. From Elizabeth Piast's initial report to the painstaking work of detectives like Seigan and Kozenzak, their department bore the initial and most significant burden of unraveling Gacy's crimes. Their dedication and methodical approach, despite limited resources and unprecedented challenges, were fundamental in bringing a serial killer to justice. Their work set a precedent. While Gacy confessed, the initial stages of the investigation relied heavily on circumstantial evidence: the last sighting of Robert Piast with Gacy, the smell from the house, the personal belongings found during the search. Each piece, though not a smoking gun on its own, built a compelling picture that allowed police to escalate their investigation, obtain warrants, and ultimately secure the confession. It demonstrated the power of careful, incremental evidence gathering. John Wayne Gacy's name remains synonymous with serial murder and the chilling realization that evil can hide in plain sight. His story continues to be studied in criminology, psychology, and popular culture, a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for darkness. His infamy endures, not to glorify the killer, but to serve as a cautionary tale, to honor the victims, and to reinforce the ongoing vigilance required to protect our communities from such profound depravity. The John Wayne Gacy case leaves us with an enduring question: how can society better identify and prevent such horrors? It's a question that continues to drive research into criminal psychology, improve law enforcement techniques, and strengthen community support systems. While we may never fully eradicate evil, understanding cases like Gacy's is vital in our ongoing efforts to safeguard the innocent and ensure that the memory of his victims serves as a catalyst for a safer future. The narrative of John Wayne Gacy is a sobering journey into the darkest corners of human behavior. It is a story not just of a monster, but of the ordinary lives he touched and irrevocably altered. Through the meticulous work of dedicated investigators, the courage of survivors, and the unwavering love of families, a semblance of justice was achieved. His case stands as a permanent fixture in the annals of true crime, a chilling reminder that vigilance, empathy, and truth remain our strongest defenses against the hidden depths of evil.